Balki, can you take us through the story, how you thought and conceptualized the story and the casting?
I didn't conceptualize the story or the casting. I was sitting here, right, that I'd come to meet Amitji. One of the meetings we had on Chinika, doing post-production, I was sitting here. He was in one of these kind of moods, and he was kind of, uh, fooling around. And Abhishek come, he was one of his very rare, mature moods. He's very wise, and he was saying something very serious and all that stuff. And he was pulling his leg, and I was looking at the two of them. I said, some kind of birth, this guy must have been his father, and he must have been his son. And that's a thought. And I said, if I ever make a film, and these roles should be reversed. And that's how it started off. And it wasn't with the intention of making a film or whatever. It was just a thought I had. Then I called him and I said, there's one role reversal thing, which is an idea. And he said, he laughed. I think first thing he just laughed. He said, yeah, sure. But I also didn't know how to do it. Then initially thought it would be a fantasy film. We went on and I just looked at it, should be a real film. So is there a medical condition like that? Then I spoke to a friend of mine whose son happened to have some hormonal problem, who spouted something early, whatever. And I asked him, did your son have any accelerated aging syndrome? He said, no, my son has a different problem. And because I remember that only because he'd asked me to get some medicines from London when I was going out there. So he said, no, let me put you on to the doctor who had treated my son. And I spoke to the doctor and he said, of course there is a syndrome. I had no clue what progeria. Progeria was not the beginning of this concept. And he said, there is one, go on to the net and find out. So I did a lot of studying out there. Then I told him, that listen, this is an idea which you can kind of do. And actually the most excited person, I mean, he was the first person to kind of say, yes, let's do, right. So then I wrote. And as usual, as soon as I wrote it after a month, right, the first time, a month, came back and I wrote it in the typical style, which is like really frivolous and really casual and really chini kamask. I wrote it and I spoke to him and he had given me, and I thought he'd be very excited, he'd jump in joy after waiting for it because he'd asked me some 2-3 times, where are the scripts? So I came, flashed the script before him, he read it quietly. He just looked at me and said, you want to do this? I said, yeah, I want to do this stuff. And he tried to explain to me as kindly as he could that, okay, we have the potential with this concept to make it a Trishul, come Mukaddar, ka Sikandar, come this, come the... It could be an emotional powerhouse. Why is it so light? I told him, I mean, I got the first reaction for any career, and that includes him. If I say, it's not that, he said, why? And the same thing, which is what they did. He said, no, I want to make this kind of film, and just threw a little kind of a thing, no, I want to make. And he very quietly said, if you really want to do it, let's do it, no problem. But I think there's a bigger picture out here, which is that I had no clue as to what he was talking about, and I was like stuck in my mind and said, no, that's what I want to do. He said, yeah, think about it, if you still want to do it, let's do it. Okay, so I went back 10 days and I said, no, I'm going to tell him that I want to do exactly this. 10 days I sat around and I said, shit. After 10 days I read it again. It was a pure bunch of crap, and I just threw it out. I started writing a new story altogether completely, and I finished that story, and that took about a month and a half, 2 months. It sunk slowly that what he was trying to say was this, because it's extremely difficult. It's damn easy for us both to communicate on a lot of matters, but when you try and communicate on a story or a script level, there's a lot of sensitivity involved. So it takes time to get rid of that sensitivity. So I finished that, then I wrote it. I mean, he was the first guy to jump up and join and said, this is what we should do. This is exactly what we should do. That was the process of this particular stuff. So I actually wrote 2 scripts, one crap, one good.
And this story...
Thanks to him.
This is total fiction.
Yeah, but it's a real story. It's an emotional story. It's not, it's a work of fiction, not based on anybody's life.
Not based on anybody's life. And the condition is just, it's...
Child happens to be suffering from progeria.
Happens to be, but that's fit in because the main pivotal point being that you wanted a reversal of roles.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Will you ever do a movie without Amitabh?
Not if I can help it. Not unless he says he doesn't want to act in anything that I write.
So are you saying the next movie you make will also have Amitabh Bachchan in it?
I'd love to write for him because I think, like I said, he's a great brand. I mean, I think there are brands in your life that you want to do work for, regardless of, it could be a small business, it could be a big business, it could be something else. There are lots of people, and there could be huge businesses. There are some brands you really love, to do, because like I said, he's a character, and I've grown up watching his movies, and there is a lot of, you can't express it. It's more than me liking him or anything of that sort. It's more liking the aura associated with Amitabh Bachchan. And that's a fabulous driving force to ideas, you know. So as long as I can get ideas, I wouldn't do a film with him if he doesn't have a great idea. I wouldn't do a film with him for the sake of doing a film, okay? And neither will he. But I'm just basically saying that because it's special, and I think we need to come up with ideas which does justice to him. And if we do that, we'll kind of, I'd like to write for him if I can get that all the time.
If not Amitabh Bachchan for Oro, who would you have
I wouldn't have
cast?
done the film. I wouldn't have done this film if he had said no, or Abhishek had said no, or Vidya had said no. Because the film was written for the three of them, and it would have been that, otherwise I wouldn't have done it. Same thing with Chinikam. I wouldn't have done it if he or Tabu had said no to it. It could not have been done.
When do you plan to become a full-time filmmaker?
What do you think I am? What is a full time?
You're now part-time.
The Lou, you're going to be making films about. Yeah, full time. Advertising, filmmaking is all the same thing. It's a business of ideas. I mean, one's a longer ad, one's a shorter ad. And the only thing about filmmaking, which is different from advertising, is you crack an idea, it comes out faster. This damn thing, you'll have to sustain your interest in that idea for a long period of time. I mean, the trick of filmmaking, feature filmmaking, is actually being able to preserve the interest that you had while writing the script when you finish executing it. You know, that's by the time you finish executing it, you feel like you don't want to see it again. In ads, it's a little shorter, and that's the only difference.
To watch more, subscribe to youtube.com/etnowlight.